Following the chaos of the 2024 election, a lingering question remains. How did we get here? A new book claims to have the answer. 2024, How Trump Retook the White House and the Democrats Lost America, details the entirety of last year's presidential campaign. From Trump and Biden's decisions to run, to the midterm elections, all the way to Vice President Harris locking in the Democratic nomination and eventually conceding the election to Donald Trump. The book also details the role Trump campaign manager Susie Wiles played in getting him elected and how that success led to her current job as White House Chief of Staff. Joining us now are the book's co-authors, New York Times White House correspondent Tyler Pager, Washington Post senior White House reporter Isaac Arnsdorf, and Wall Street Journal political investigative reporter Josh Dawsey. Now, I just want to tell y'all I'm a little mad at you because I decided to download your book last night and I stayed up way too late for this show when I have to wake up early because it was so juicy. But I feel like filled out kind of some of the gaps of what we know in terms of the personalities within the Trump campaign and the Biden administration. And I guess I'm going to start with you, Josh Dawsey, because you really, I feel like, gave more attention, or I want to say your reporting previously, or I guess was it with Ty? No, y'all aren't the same. It was about.
Well, they all started at the same place.
Yeah, they were all at the same place.
It's like y'all have co-bylines. I'm trying to figure out the co-bylines, the not co-bylines. But anyway, so talk about Susie Wiles and how her role within the campaign really helped Trump win the election in a way that other campaign managers haven't had that kind of impact with Donald Trump.
Right. Well, Susie Wiles came into his orbit in a serious way in early 2021, right after, he tried to overturn the election, with J6 at, the Capitol. He's under various investigations from federal and state prosecutors. And Susie Wiles comes to Florida. Trump is in a pretty dark place. I think now it's sort of, you look back and you remember that, he's kind of a powerful president now, but at the time he was sort of a pariah, even among some segments of the Republican Party. And our book sort of shows how Susie Wiles charted his return, right, by helping him put an apparatus in place in 21 and 22, by sort of being his counselor and therapist of sorts. Really, and I know that sounds funny now, but at the time it was not really the case. I mean, one of the scenes we have in the book is sort of her coming down, and he says, are all these people stealing from me? He's complaining about all the investigations, the subpoenas, and she's trying to just show him the nuts and bolts of how a campaign could work. And it was sort of poetic justice for her because in 2018, she ran Ron DeSantis's campaign in Florida. They had a pretty nasty falling out. He fired her, excommunicated her from Florida politics, basically tried to end her professional career. And she got some sort of proverbial revenge coming back with Trump and beating DeSantis so heavily in the primary.
Well, the book really talks about just how nasty and personal it got with DeSantis and how that was actually the strategy.
I want to shift to the Biden-Harris of it all, because, Tyler, you called Biden on his phone, on his cell phone, y'all. Tyler's a very good reporter. You call Biden on his phone. He's getting on a train because you want to interview him. And it sounds like he's into it. And he starts to answer a couple of questions, but then he hangs up pretty quickly because he got to go. After that, you seem to be pissed off some people because they started either blocking your calls or stopping your calls. And then the next day, Verizon was like, this person no longer has his phone number. Trump just sat down for an interview. Biden tried to. Harris declined, correct?
Yeah. I mean, so Josh went down to Mar-a-Lago and spent some time with Donald Trump 10 days before the inauguration. Obviously, when you write a book like this, we think it was incredibly important to sit down with the key players and have them explain their thinking, their decision making. And so I put in a lot of requests to interview Joe Biden. His aides made it very clear that that was not going to happen. They said it would conflict with his memoir that he was working on. I didn't find that to be a particularly convincing excuse.
Yeah, that was the noise we made.
Maybe
so I got his number, and like any journalist, I called it. He didn't initially pick up. then I didn't leave a message, and he called back an unknown number to him. And I explained to him what I was doing, and he said, call me the next day. He would be willing to talk for the book. So I called him. He happened to be getting, in a very classic Joe Biden way, on an Amtrak train. He answered a few questions and then seemed open to sort of continuing the conversation. As you'll see in the book, it was very, very brief. He said he had no regrets, and he thought Trump's first few months were unproductive in the White House. And then when I tried to call back, it went straight to voicemail. 2 days later, it was replaced, Eugene, as you said, with a Verizon wireless message that said the number has been disconnected.
What does that tell you?
I mean, look, and I think the other thing to add to it is I got a lot of heat from the Biden orbit about reaching out to him directly. Look, they tried really hard to keep him sheltered and shielded away. And it wasn't just from me as a reporter. It was from a lot of people. I mean, I think some of the most interesting material in the book is that period between the debate and him dropping out and all the ways people tried to get information to him or reach him and couldn't. Senator Chris Coons, the senator from Delaware, a close ally, could not get to Joe Biden. The pollsters who wanted to present to Joe Biden, they never met with him throughout his entire campaign. Had a meeting scheduled. It was for 4 p.m., pushed to 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m., never happened. So there's just all these people during that critical time period, the most perilous moment of Joe Biden's political career, and no one could get to him.
And speaking of perilous moments, Isaac, we have the book here. So you can see here where it says 24. The picture here is of Trump. The day of that rally at Butler, Pennsylvania, the first assassination attempt on his life. I was on air. My show had just started just at 6 o'clock, and then we had to go into breaking news because of this assassination attempt. And I'm wondering, what impact did that assassination attempt have, not just on him, the person, but on his campaign? Did they know then that everything had shifted, and with this iconic photo, that things had changed?
I think it wasn't immediately clear at the time, and it's become clearer with time. I mean, he mentioned to Josh during the interview, he was himself wondering, do you think it would have been different? What kind of difference do you think it made? Obviously, he thinks he still would have won. But one of the immediate impacts it did have was the way that the security requirements, because of this close call, but also a real threat from Iran wanting to assassinate him, changed the operations of the campaign in the final months. A level having to scramble events at the last minute because of security requirements, fly in different jets, and really giving the campaign a feeling of real danger and also real urgency.
Josh, one of the things that I took from the book, like kind of zooming out, is that maybe this was always how it was going to end with Donald Trump back in the White House, right? Because I think, we think about 2020 as like, ooh, people really loved Biden and didn't like Trump. Trump still almost won, despite the fact that thousands of people in this country were dying every day from COVID, right? There was the assassination attempts. He had all these things that were happening that with other candidates maybe would have been a problem. Have we just underestimated Donald Trump's popularity with the American people?
Well, he certainly has popularity with a large swath of the American people. I mean, this time he won the popular vote, right? And afterwards, I mean, if you remember the day after Jan 6, as they're seen in the book, it's Jan 7, 2021. Washington is sort of reeling. There's curfews, the hundreds of people being arrested. The Capitol's in tatters. And there's an RNC retreat in Florida, and they have all the members of the party there. And Ronna McDaniel, who was the chair of the party at the time, calls Trump and puts him on speakerphone. And all the members start screaming out, "We love you. We wish you were here. You're great." Now, that was Jan 7, 2021. And it's sort of in that moment, you realized, okay, he still has a lot of popularity because it was not, the Capitol was still literally not cleaned up fully yet, right?
It was crap on the wall.
And the people had sort of stuck with him. And I think you saw, even in sort of 21 and 22, Trump had a lot of power with the Republican Party, right? He could still win primaries, but his numbers were not very good nationally. And some of the midterms, some of the candidates that he picked, the election deniers and so the like, didn't do so well, right? And really, you only saw people come back to him en masse after he got charged in New York, right? The other Republicans all come out and say, the charges are baloney, basically. And Trump told us for the book, he said, I couldn't believe they all defended me so quickly, right? It was kind of an amazing moment.
Yeah.
But one of the things
we have to go. I'm so sorry because I really want to keep talking more about this and also just the big picture takeaways from how these campaigns, they were just operating so fundamentally differently from each other, the way that each campaign operated. Anyway, so we have to everyone's got to buy the book. That's the bottom line here. Just get the book, okay? So Tyler, Isaac, Josh, authors of 2024, How Trump Retook the White House and Democrats Lost America. Thank you so much, and we'll be right back.